Now I am very happy to welcome back one of the sportsbook's most feared college football bettors, and Mr. Brad Powers from BradPowersports.com. You can follow Brad at BradPower7. Brad, it is Halloween season, my man. What do you have going on this week?
Yeah, I don't know if I'm in the celebratory mood like you are. I wish I could get that way, and I don't know if they fear me this week, the sports books, or at least any point this season. It hasn't been great, but we're gonna try to close the season strong. But uh, can I get an I am Batman from out of you?
Well, actually, Brad, if you thought I was Batman, you're actually wrong because I'm actually Batman today. Batman.
Oh,
All
I
right.
like it. I like
Yeah,
that.
yeah. My daughter made this for me this morning, so
I love it.
I'm for some reason I'm dressed like a bat, but I am Batman today, and we're gonna try to find some value for our listeners
I
out
like it.
there, and the fact that she did that was nice. I'm like, she did it way nicer than I would have, putting dollar bills and stuff on this little sign, but here we are. And we have a lot to talk about, my man. But I like to talk about playoffs a little bit, and the scenarios are out there for sure. Thanks for popping in the chat, guys. Bobby out there as usual. UTEP backers last night. I'm sorry, held to the no. I was like, that was one I got. I had a good number on Kennesaw at 9.5, and I stuck with it. And I actually will apologize to everybody on UTEP because that was crap. Sorry about that, my friend. And Andrew, he's got the whole family dressed as DC characters as well. So that's what we're doing. We're dressing up as DC characters, and that's why you see me as a Batman looking like Batman today. So here we are. Scenarios. So what's the scariest, I should say, what's the scariest scenario for the college football playoffs, Brad? And I would say, at least make it somewhat plausible because we could say a lot. I got one, but I want to hear what you have first.
Well, obviously, it's a TV show. It's an invitation. So they're going to want as many Big Ten, SEC, Notre Dame as possible in order to drive the ratings and whatnot. So I'm going to focus on an individual conference that you don't have to get too creative to think, hey, what about maybe 3 or 4 teams making it out of this conference? It's the ACC. So we have at the top of the conference right now, you have Georgia Tech unbeaten. You have Virginia up there. You have Louisville up there with only one loss. And you have Miami, the team that probably the committee would prefer win that conference and be the sole team coming out of that conference to go to the playoffs. You got them in the mix. Here's the problem. None of the 4 teams play one another down the stretch here. So you don't have to get too creative when you look at Georgia Tech. I mean, certainly they could lose, but they're going to be favored in their remaining 3 conference games. They do have to play Georgia still, but that's not going to affect the ACC race. Miami will be favored in each of their remaining games. Virginia probably is an underdog at Duke, but the way they've been going, I mean, my goodness. I mean, they could lose all 4 of their remaining games or they could win them all because they're the most fortunate team in the country. And then Louisville's going to be favored in all their remaining games. So the nightmare scary scenario that I have is, what if all 4 of these teams enter with like one loss? Let's just say for this purpose, Georgia Tech does lose to Georgia. How many ACC teams are we going to get in the playoffs if that's the case? I know that the committee would want 1, but in that scenario, probably getting at least 2, maybe 3, and somebody's getting left out with 11-1 regular season record.
You're speaking my language. Bobby said the ACC as well. Very crazy how it's kind of going down. Look, I dug just as deep as you, and I said the same things, but I wrote it out. First of all, let's have all the SEC teams finish with 3 losses, minus A&M. A&M could have 2 losses, whatever. Michigan runs the table in the Big Ten, beating Ohio State, while Iowa runs the table and loses in the Big Ten championship to Indiana. So Iowa would have 2 regular season losses, but a championship loss. Miami runs the table, but does not make the ACC championship game because Virginia and Georgia Tech, as Brad was saying, also run the table. Georgia Tech beats Georgia, but they lose to Virginia in the ACC championship game. So you're stuck with Virginia. BYU runs the table, loses to Texas Tech in the Big 12 championship. So can't really punish them, can you? And then, of course, Navy runs the table in the ACC. James Madison wins out. Navy loses to Army after the playoff selection's taking place. So there you go, Matt. That's something I'm wishing for, man. That's some scary shit.
You said it'd be plausible. You don't have to get too creative on some of that, but yeah, that would be the ultimate nightmare scenario for the committee.
Okay, yeah, I would take
One of
any.
them.
I
I
would take
mean,
any of them though. I would take any of these, like just the AAC or just the Big 12. Any of these are fun, man. I think.
absolutely. And the committee is not going to want that. So they want as many SEC and Big Ten teams as possible. I think they'd prefer 7 or 8. But I don't know if we're getting that because of these other conferences. And yeah, the problem I have is I hear you're rooting for chaos. I still want, with a 12-team playoff, I still want to see a semblance of the best teams playing. So I'm not going to be rooting for that. I'm sorry. I'm on with the books right now as far as what I would prefer to see.
The network's called, we're emergency switching to 16 this year. Emergency switch. That's what's going to happen, my friend. Network's call, emergency. That would be absolutely hilarious. And yeah, Bobby and Andrew think chaos could be coming. I agree. Iowa's lurking in the weeds. They are lurking in the weeds. I mean, they have to be Oregon, but everybody's kind of lurking in the weeds right now, and I think that's pretty fun. Richard has a question. If Brad likes a game at 2.5, for example, and can I only get it at 3, is it a still bet since I won't lose even with you winning? Thank you. You always say with that you like it at 2.5 with back at 3. He's probably thinking Tennessee, Brad. That's what I'm thinking he's thinking, but we'll see.
Yeah, I mean, game by game basis. I mean, sometimes I'm still willing to lay the 3. I mean, I'll give you an example. It's a game we'll talk about, Georgia, Florida. I bet a bad number. How about this? I laid 7.5. Thought that was going to be a good bet. Now you can get 7. So yeah, if you can get a better number, obviously still back it. Sometimes even when I lay 2.5, maybe I laid 2.5 because I made the number. Say it's earlier in the season. Maybe it's because I made the number 4.5. So yeah, it's still 3 still playable at that point. However, as you're going to talk, this time of year, numbers a little bit tighter, so you don't have a lot of discrepancies in the power ratings like you did in week 1 or 2. So case by case basis, but normally you'd still be okay.
Yeah, it's not like I'm making if my power ratings say 3 and it's 2.5, I'm probably not betting it. If my power ratings are saying 4.5, I'm probably betting 2.5 and would probably bet 3. It's kind of like that. There's a smaller variance between the 3s when it comes to college than it is to the NFL. So I also think it could be a different answer, but it's all power rating based.
Yeah.
If I think the number's way off and I'm way off on the market, and it's usually my fault, but I'm still going to have to bet it, and I would also bet it at 3 myself. So that's, I guess, how I'd answer that. So just going into the next question, you already kind of mentioned it. The days are getting shorter. It's Halloween. The nights are getting longer, my friend. What do you look for this time of year when it comes to your handicapping?
Yeah, you have to pivot a little bit because, again, you're just not going to have as many discrepancies as what you had weeks 1 and 2. Although I, still have enough when I'm betting on Sundays. You're looking for a variety of things. I'm not a big situational guy, but sometimes this time of year, because you're getting more and more rivalries. Maybe you're fading a team coming off a rivalry high, or buying low. We're going to do a buy low, sell high segment here as well. Maybe I'm looking for that. Maybe a team has had a couple of bad performances back to back, and I think they're getting underpriced in the market. I'll buy them. Also, I think we're at the point where injuries are starting to become more prominent, and not necessarily everybody knows about the starting quarterback. I'm talking more specifically like what I like to take advantage of: cluster injuries at position groups like O-line, D-line, defensive backs. Normally, this is an instance where, okay, those players individually aren't going to move the needle, but it's an instance where if you combine a couple of players in the secondary, it's a 1 + 1 = 3 type of situation where all of a sudden it does mean a lot once you start going way down the depth chart at a bunch of positions. So I would say that's probably the thing that really changes this time of year. I focus more and more on injuries.
Absolutely. Injuries massive. And of course, weather, weather is getting worse coming
Very
into
good.
November now. The weather is key. It messes up a passing game, and it's going to affect it a lot more than people see. Did you just look for Oregon against Wisconsin last week? A little windy,
Very good.
heavy rain. And once it gets really cold, it's important. And Bobby's mentioning trench play is important too when it comes to those lower totals. And in those situations too. They hold a ton of weight. Absolutely, man. And there's another thing that I wanted to mention about this time of year. You already mentioned injuries. So I think that's huge. The lines definitely get a heck of a lot tighter. I do agree with that. It is a situation where you got to be very careful about that as well. So good stuff. Buy low, sell high, Brad. This is what we always talk about because, it's not necessarily betting it this week, but maybe you are. What do you have for a buy low, sell high for Halloween weekend?
I'm going to go sell high. I'm going to do the most fortunate team in the country. I'm selling them. It's the Virginia Cavaliers. Not necessarily this week because I'm not a big proponent of their opponent, that being Cal this week. I'm not a big fan of them. But this is a Virginia team that's won 4 consecutive games where 3 of them were via overtime. The other one was just a very fortunate 2-point win against Washington State. Virginia was outgained in all 4 games. This is a team here that's got 1 loss, probably should have 3 or 4 losses right now. I know the schedule isn't overly difficult down the stretch, so probably be favored in 3 of their 4 remaining games. Still, with that being said, I wouldn't be a bit surprised this team loses a couple of those games. So this is a team that I'll be looking to fade in November. Virginia, I'm selling high on them. They're they're not. They're what are they? An AP poll like 16th or something? Hell, they're not even in the top 30 in my power ratings.
They're not in the top 30 of my power ratings either, Brad. It's funny. And the reason I said Virginia runs the table is because they really could run the table. You see that schedule in front of Virginia. It is absolutely pathetic right now. They have really bad teams ahead. And I want to mention that because if they get to the ACC championship, prepare to lay it with Miami or Georgia Tech or whoever they're playing because they have at Cal, Wake Forest, maybe they lose to Wake, at Duke, maybe they lose to Duke and Virginia Tech. None of these are scary teams. They could, keep getting through these. And yeah, I kind of hope for some good, some very good line value in them coming up here for us. Andrew Clark, 9 fumbles, 0 lost. I know, dude, that's crazy, Andrew. The numbers on Virginia is absolutely crazy. Florida State will be tricky. The public bettors. I don't think they play Florida State unless
they already beat them in that game.
Yeah, they already beat Florida State. So that was a weird one. Yeah. Let's I'm gonna buy low on Louisville a little bit.
Okay.
I'm not sure if I'm taking them this week. They're 10.5 point favorites at Virginia Tech. My power rating's 11, but I still might. I mean, I'm hoping it gets down to 10 or so. And I just feel like they're kind of that team that's lurking that nobody's talking about. And when a Jeff Brom team nobody's talking about, that's kind of when he fires. He did beat Miami this year, and they went to Miami and beat them. Boston College, a little bit of a letdown spot. They let them score 24 points. But, man, you're going to have some very fortunate situations because they're going to be playing Clemson on the 14th. And I do want to get into the Clemson game this week. Hopefully we do. But they have SMU against Kentucky at home. They actually have a path as well because this ACC is completely screwed up. So I'm going to buy a little bit low on Jeff Brom's team, Brad.
Yeah, they're a team that I think certainly has a high ceiling. We saw it against Miami. I mean, they look like the better team. It wasn't too much. I mean, obviously Carson Beck threw some picks, but a lot of that was, Louisville causing them, getting pressure on them. And you saw a healthy Isaac Brown at running back, what he can do. I think the wide receiver Bells, looks like a first round pick. And if Miller Moss plays clean, I mean, he's a pretty good quarterback. And obviously Brom, when he wants to be, not on a game in and game out basis, but boy, when he's got it dialed up, he's as good as X's and O's as anybody in the country on the offensive side. So I hear you on that. It depends on the role for me. Yep. When they play like the Clemsons of the world, and I think they still have to play SMU, I would be more prone to backing them than their role last week when they're laying, almost 4 touchdowns and it's 31-24 against BC in the fourth quarter.
Yeah, absolutely. That is better situation. Let's get into our 6-pack of scary games here. You picked this one, Vanderbilt versus Texas. Texas minus 1.5, the total, 44.5. I was monitoring this line, and I see it go up to 3, and then I see it go back down to 1.5. I'm wondering if some individual might have done that. Maybe you can tell us a little bit more about that.
Well, it's going to be depending on the news of Arch Manning, whether he plays or not. I've been told that, at least the people I respect, they're a little bit more optimistic than the market. Arch hasn't had a great season, but he's certainly worth, at least a field goal, if not more, to the line. So they monitor that. I kind of like Texas here. I have bet Texas. I've also bet the under. And look, it's tough fading against red hot Vanderbilt team that's 6-2 against the number. They've been covering by an average of double digits per game, but I just think it's a bad spot for Vanderbilt. 4 straight game against a ranked opponent. I wasn't overly impressed with them last week. They got outgained by more than 100 yards. Certainly benefited from Missouri's quarterback getting hurt in that game. I'm not sure that they win that game. Texas hasn't looked great, but that's on the road laying points in games that they're not motivated. You saw when they turned it on in the fourth quarter against Mississippi State what they're capable of. So I won't be popular, but I am back in Texas this week.
I think Texas going to have a pretty nice home advantage here. I think Vandy was one of my other sell high teams that I considered. I do like Pavia a ton, but I'm with you. I'm wondering if the downgrade to Caldwell is 3 points. I don't know. How do we know this? How do you quantify this, man? I don't even. I mean, was the beat writers doing this? I don't know who's doing that. And there's some sharp people out there, but geez, how much can you really know about somebody?
He's got experience. He was Troy's starter last year.
Yeah, he's got some experience, and now he's with a bunch of 5-star athletes. That changes things. Arch has not been good this year. I'm with you. I'm kind of waiting to bet this a little bit. If Arch gets announced out, you'll get a +2.5 at home for Texas, with that defense there. I'm with you, man. I'm leaning Texas big time in this situation, and I can see myself being on it for sure. And, it's just too hard. Like you said, this spot is just too hard for Vanderbilt just to keep doing this crap. I remember Pavia with New Mexico State. It's just he'd have his screw ups. It's just he'd go and go and go and just have that off week. I feel like it could be this week. And Texas is a desperate team themselves. I'm with you. I'm probably going to be betting that as well. What number did you get?
1.5. Anything under 3 is playable.
Yeah, 1.5 is a great number, I think. So we'll look at that one. Next game, Miami versus SMU. SMU +12.5. Total 50.5. Brad, I picked this one because I think that Miami might be a little fugazi on the road. I saw them beat Stanford. They had they didn't show up for the first half. And I don't know why they did that, but they didn't show up. And then they just completely put it on Stanford. Momentum's with them. You saw the 4 to 5 star athletes kind of show up, but this SMU team, I think, is trickier than some people think. I think that this game for both really has college football playoff implications because both of them only have one conference loss. So it's not like SMU is going to, give up here at home. The Canes only have one road game so far, only one road, and they covered against Florida State, but they really wanted to give that game away. They really did. It got dicey against the Seminoles, and that hasn't been aging well. This is a Mario Cristobal fade to me. Past the 10, just boneheaded coaching left and right from him. We've seen it for years. I think this is one I'd be more mad at myself not betting and watching SMU win outright or cover this thing, dude. Corey Heatherman, is he that good? I don't know. They got a lot of athletes and 5 stars, 4 stars to go with, and there is a talent discrepancy. But Jennings, man, he hasn't run the ball well this season. He kind of had a new roster to start with. I think they kind of aren't starting to gel, and you saw that with their big win against Clemson. I think that they do get up for the big wins. And Jennings really 17 and 8 TD to interception ratio. That's not bad. And Carson Beck's not that much better. He's got the great 73% completion, but 12 to 7 TD to interception ratio too. It's not like Beck has been really lighting it up. Now, 4 of those interceptions was just a week or two ago. But I'm not expecting SMU to necessarily win it, but I think there's value in this number. I'm taking the Stangs, dude. A couple stars.
There you go. I think there's variance to this game. It really depends. I would be all over SMU, but I haven't liked SMU hardly in any performance this year, with the exception when they, look properly motivated. They're at Clemson. I know they're facing a backup quarterback. When you watch that game, it had nothing to do with the backup quarterback. SMU just played by far their best game this season. You would think you would get SMU's A game here at home, big game. I'd probably prefer it to be a night game instead of an 11 a.m. local start time to let the crowd get a little bit more boost up. I don't know what I'm getting from Miami. I hear you. It seems like a typical Cristobal game where they no show. It would be so alarming if they did. I mean, I'm talking about. I mean, you'd start considering getting rid of the guy if
I
he
would.
lost another one of these as a double-digit favorite in a must-win game. I can only look towards SMU. I haven't gotten there yet. I am very greedy, and I would like just a little bit more to get involved. And I wish I could. SMU has just been. I mean, they've only covered 2 games, and I thought one of them was Fugazi in the Stanford game. Really, only the Clemson game. I've come away. Yep, SMU is close to last year's team, so that's what concerns me. But you don't know what you're getting from if we get bad Carson Beck, bad Mario Cristobal, and we get good Kevin Jennings and Lashley, who I do like quite a bit.
Yeah, right.
Then I could see Miami winning by 3-4 touchdowns, or I could see SMU winning the game outright. It's a very high variance game, a game I will be following. I think it's a good in-game live betting opportunity because I think there could be some peaks and valleys here.
Do you think that this goes up to 13? That is a good thing. Be greedy. It's Halloween season. Hit the best houses with that candy, bet the best sports books with those numbers, Brad. Right? It is that time of year, and I was worried that it goes to 11 and then to 10. 10 and a half.
Yeah,
I was worried it go that way because there's only these sharp people are going to only hold out for so long, and then they're just going to grab the number and pound it down. So you know what? It's okay if you don't like it. You just don't have to bet it. That's the great thing about our industry. We don't have to bet things. If it's not agreeing with you, don't bother. Delaware versus Liberty. Liberty plus 3.5. Total 51.5. This is getting closer to 3, Brad. I took 4.5 earlier right when I took it. It was about to move. It went down to 3.5 a little bit after I took it, but I still like it at 3.5. I had to laugh a little bit at this one. Are we still factoring in preseason rankings with Liberty? I'm not understanding this. Liberty's a terrible team right now. Disappointing. 89th in offensive success rate, 67th on defense. The only good thing that they do is defend the pass, ranking 29th in opponent pass EPA. But the Blue Hens, surprising, 31st in offensive success rate, 99th on defensive success rate, not so great. But in this game, it's stopping the run because that's what you got to do against Liberty. And Liberty ranks 25th in rushing attempts per game, so they're going to run a lot. If there's anything the Blue Hens can do well on defense, it's stop the run. They were 34th in opponent rushing success rate. So I think that Delaware's live as a road dog here. I know Liberty's coming off the bye week, but you have to remember the Hens played last Wednesday, so it's still 3 extra days for them too. You give the bye to Liberty. Are they really going to fix all that much in the bye? Delaware coming off a disappointing performance themselves with 3 extra days. Delaware's got a .28 net yards per play advantage with very close schedules on Sagarin. Sagarin's got them almost pretty close to equal in schedules. I took the dog. I think you should find the 3.5. I don't like the 3, but this is one, with that question earlier that I'd say find the 3.5 and bet it. Brad, what about you?
I'm with you. I really like Delaware. It's probably possible, play of the week material for me. The hang up for me, and I think why it's 3.5 is watching Delaware's game from last week. Minicucci, the quarterback, got KO'd at the end of the game. I heard concussion, maybe protocol. I mean, obviously they lean on the side of caution in today's day and age. I hope if he's in and I'm first in the news, I'm with you. I love Delaware outright. Injury front and keep in mind this says I focus more on injuries this time of year. Liberty's leading tackler just got announced out for the season yesterday, so it's not like it was 2-week-old news. Just got announced yesterday. Yeah. Their top player, the safety kid, remains out. Doesn't look like he's going to play. So banged up team that's been overpriced in the market, not only this year, but last year. You combine the two, maybe the most disappointing program in the country is Liberty. And Delaware has been much better than expected. They play clean and the quarterback's healthy. I think you got an outright winner here.
Yeah. It's funny. You're right about the concussion thing. I think that's more with the star teams, the bigger teams, the Power 5. I think extra 10 days or total of 10 days, extra 3 days of rest. I think he goes through protocol and flies through it. I think we're okay there. But yeah, you made some good points. Did you say Delaware's leading tacklers out as well?
Liberty's leading
Liberty's
tackler.
Okay. Thank you. You worried me on that.
Maybe I worded it wrong. No, Liberty's leading tackler.
Okay.
So I'm sorry for that.
No, thank you. I could have just misheard you because I'm kind of looking up stuff as you talk because I'm trying to find out the information on the quarterback as well. Yeah, let's go Delaware here. Let's hope the quarterback's in, but the 3.5. I'll tell you that wasn't even their starting quarterback coming in this season. That guy got hurt the first game, so they're actually already on a backup. He's been playing great though. Obviously, looking at this level, I like how the Blue Hens kind of came in to the FBS. Brad, kind of firing on all cylinders, haven't they?
Yeah, they have. They got a young, bright coach. They've had quarterback injuries the last couple of years, so all these guys have experience. So Minicucci started half the games last year because the starter got hurt again last year. It's a quarterback-friendly system, although I didn't like the backup in the last few series against Middle Tennessee. So keep an eye on it. But, yeah, I think it's very worthy of play of the week material, Delaware here.
Plus 3.5 for me. And Bobby says if they're not tripping over themselves, they could win outright. So I absolutely agree. Let's move on to the next game. And then we have Georgia versus Florida. I wrote 7.5, Brad. What's the fair number on this right now? Is it 7 or 7.5?
Let's split the middle. I would say -7, -115, -120-ish. Depends on where you're shopping. There's big books, Caesars, DraftKings that you can get -7, -115, but all important FanDuel is -7.5. So chop as always. We love FanDuel though. I see the sponsor right there. Love FanDuel. Shop around. I played it at 7.5, thinking it's going to go to 9.5, 10. Maybe I'm just wrong. The market's not in love with this Georgia team. I mean, I'm not wild about them either, but I had this one power rated closer to 10. Florida's going to play hard with first game as the interim, but I don't think playing hard is going to be enough here. Georgia's taking care of business in this rivalry, 4 straight, average score 38-17. Kirby hates Florida. If you've ever, if you're in the weeds on college football, every now and then during the offseason, you get clips of Kirby, like 4-letter words, every other word. It's halftime of a Florida game. Keep in mind, he played at Georgia. Hates Florida. So I think you get a focused Georgia team off a bye, and if they're focused, I just think they're superior, much more than 7. I mean, hell, people I respected were going, tripping over themselves to lay 7 against Ole Miss last time Georgia was out. Georgia got a fortunate cover at the end, but hell, Ole Miss is way better than Florida. So I'm not understanding this one. I thought it would get closer to 10. Maybe it still will, but best bet for me on this show would be Georgia.
Georgia at 7. Oh my God. I bet 7.5 for Florida, but I did it early. I kind of thought went down. It was going to go down. You kind of thought it was going the other way, huh? It's the coach fired spot is what gets me a lot. I think. Yeah, and I did ruin it for Colorado State last week because I bet on them. I destroyed that trend. My number is actually 8, but I think I bet it because of the bye. Right? Aren't they off the bye?
Both are off a bye. They're they always play each other off a bye.
Yeah. There was a reason. I think I gave them an extra point for home field or something. I can't remember what brought me to 7, but I wanted to bet it because of that and the coach fired spot. It's not really a hard position for me, but I just thought Napier was really holding them back. I think they feel a little bit refreshed. Stockton's interesting, and this is played in Jacksonville, and you wonder, he's proved himself on the road. He proved it in Tennessee. He's proven himself a few times, but I don't know, man. I'm really close to the number. I'm going to have a slight disagreement with you, which is very scary, but that's the only one so far.
Oh, you're with the market. I'm the one that's off on this one. We'll see, though.
I don't like going against Brad Powers. Nobody does. So that is a Halloween season frightening thing to do. Oklahoma versus Tennessee. Tennessee -3 total 56.5. Brad, you also talked about this one, and I feel like I know what way you're going.
Well, I'm gonna sound like square, but maybe I am. But I'm laying the 3 here. It's a couple things for me. Number one, I think Oklahoma's great defensive numbers, greatly overrated because of a weak opposing offenses. Yeah, they beat Michigan. Yeah, they beat Auburn. Yeah, the Texas, they held them down. At the start of the season, none of those offenses are that great. They finally faced one last week in Ole Miss, and look what happened. Ole Miss went up and down the field in the rain, and obviously that was a bad spot for Ole Miss coming off the Georgia performance, back-to-back road, and they do that against Oklahoma's defense. I think we got an overrated Oklahoma defense. against the Tennessee offense that I still believe in. Got it back going. Obviously, last week against Kentucky, we've seen them put points up and down the field on Georgia at home. And speaking of home, Neyland Stadium at night, it might not be whiteout, Penn State. It might not be, Baton Rouge at night. And I know I'm bringing up examples of teams that have lost home night games this year. But just generally speaking, I think Neyland at night is one of the toughest atmospheres in college football. I think both teams, when you look at yards per play margin, very similar strength of schedules. I think this is one where, I kind of like the spot for Tennessee. Plus, I give a little bit more than 3 a home field at Tennessee home night game. So I'm above the key number 3. I laid it with Tennessee.
I'm laying the 3 with Tennessee as well. Tennessee, my power rings don't have it here. It has it at 5, so I laid it. I have no problem. I took Tennessee last week against Kentucky. I didn't like Kentucky after the almost beating Texas, kind of a heartbreaking spot. They should have beat that Texas and then had to play against Tennessee. I just thought Tennessee could keep scoring, and I'm going to go back to the well here because I agree with everything you said. You said it perfectly. I don't think Oklahoma's defense is as good. I don't think they're as good on the road. I don't think Brett Venables has really impressed me as well. Mateer's a good quarterback, but he's had his hiccups even when he was at Washington State, in my opinion. And also I think he's still hurt. I think he's still bait up. I don't think they can keep up with Tennessee. This is one of my best bets, man. I love Tennessee here at the -3. So 100% agreement with you on this one. Jake, I'm going to get to this question about the SEC at the end of the show. So let's get to that. Great points, Brad, on the
look at Bobby Newbor with a good point. I keep forgetting Heupel, national championship quarterback at Oklahoma. But it didn't end well there. So he'll be very motivated to beat his alma mater.
Oh, yes, absolutely. Heupel's going to be very motivated. Let's do it, man. I love Tennessee. This is a contest. It might be a contest play if it sticks at 3. It did dip to 2.5.
There's been a lot of support for Oklahoma. So I think you're okay waiting a little bit here on this one.
Okay, wait a little bit. Yeah, okay. Well, I got a -108, I think, on my 3, but yeah, I would wait this out a little bit. I think that Tennessee's defense is sus, but I don't think they can be stopped. I'm really shocked how well that quarterback's been playing out there too. He's been way better than he was at UCLA. What a transition that was. Make a trade and one's going the wrong direction. USC versus Nebraska to complete our 6-pack. Nebraska's +6.5. I think it was 7 for a little bit. I'm going to pull it up. Total 59.5. Oh, it's 6 now. Okay. I feel a little better. I think you shop that around a little bit, try to find that 6.5 again. That's what I wrote it down as. I like Nebraska here, man. I know that they haven't lived up to expectations. Matt Rule's Matt Rule. But Matt Rule in this role, being a dog here in this situation, I love it. This is also a night game. Corn country at night, man. That's a little bit of a tough environment to play. You feel like you're in the middle of nowhere. Everybody's against you. The weather should be clear skies, 47 degrees out. I think the colder it gets, the less efficient these offenses can be too. And the key to this game, Brad, is time of possession. USC is going to try to, have quick possessions, but I think Nebraska and Matt Rule's smart, and they're going to kind of slow this game down a little bit, and they're going to run the ball a lot. USC ranks first, of course, in EPA, the way that offense has been humming, but this is going to be more of a Notre Dame type atmosphere for them. That game just happened recently. Nebraska's defense, just has to get a couple stops, in my opinion. Their defense ranks 27th in success rate, 22nd in EPA. They can slow down a few of those USC drives, like I mentioned. I think that Nebraska is going to move the ball. They're 17th in offensive success rate. Are they big time explosive? No, but the Trojans defense, 92nd in defensive success rate. There's going to be a lot of first downs, and that's why I think the pace is going to be slower, which makes me look to the under a little bit too. And 125th in success rate against the run. That is terrible for USC's defense. I think that home road splits. This is what got me to the number the most, Brad. The Trojans, 9.3 yards per play at home, 6.1 on the road. That is a 3.2 point yard per play difference, man. Nebraska 6.0 yards per play at home. I take the 6.5. I took it, couple stars.
I haven't bet that exact play, Nebraska +6.5. So you get agreement there. I mean, Lincoln Riley's been terrible traveling since he got to SC. He's 1-7 straight up, traveling 2 time zones. 1-7 against the spread. The only win straight up was against Purdue. So that doesn't really count as a 3-touchdown favorite. And the only cover was the last time out at Notre Dame, where he covered by a half point after the market faded him all week, and Notre Dame missed an extra point. Otherwise, he'd been 0 against the number traveling east. So I hear you on that. You will get disagreement from me though on the total. I do like the over.
Okay.
I don't think Nebraska's faced hardly any great opposing offenses. I watched Michigan go up and down the field on them. I think SC will be able to do what they want there, but I'm not buying SC's defense at all. I just watched Notre Dame run for another touchdown against them. I mean, they gave up 300 yards. I would like Nebraska to be a little bit more ground oriented and a little bit more line of scrimmage driven. They worry me a little bit there from what I've seen so far, but I think it's the most underrated game as far as fan viewership. Important game for both programs. I think it's the most underrated game of the weekend. This game means a hell of a lot to both here, as both try to take a next step in the Big Ten. But Nebraska and over for me.
Underrated is right. I didn't bet the under. I just mentioned that the pace of play could get a little bit messed up if Nebraska's trying to do it like that.
Yeah, you would think pace of play is like high for SC's not. They're super, efficient. If they get a couple turnovers, though, that'll be in Nebraska's wheelhouse, and maybe I'll be dead. But I can see them throwing over the top and doing whatever they want.
So Bobby wants to stay away. I agree. I mean, that's if you don't like it, stay away and enjoy it with some popcorn. It's a late game. So there you go. Houston Christian's a solid offense. Yeah. That's that brings us to our hodgepodge here, kind of talking some games. And unfortunately, it's Wednesday, and Jacksonville State's playing Middle Tennessee. And then you have FIU and Missouri State. I almost took the 3.5 with FIU this morning, Brad, but something kept me off it. My number is lower than that, but I just felt there was a lot of variance. But now it's sitting at 3. I guess I missed it, huh?
I didn't bet either game. That's saying a lot. I have not had a good read on Conference USA, and sometimes you got to know when to fold them. So I didn't do anything. A couple groups that I respect that are market influencers, they took Middle Tennessee tonight, but that was about 2.5 points ago. I understand that move, but I'm not a big fan of the head coach of Middle Tennessee. I think he's a joke. And Jacksonville State's certainly been much better than expected this year. So I just not even for entertainment value. I can't even say that. Couple of data points, I can try to figure some things out here down the stretch of Conference USA, but I didn't bet either game tonight.
Dude, I haven't either. And the number moving like that, interesting. Yeah. Everybody's saying I got to stay away from Conference USA. What is going on out here in Conference USA? It's just almost unbet. Maction was the same to me. I felt like shit that happened in Maction, and it's starting next Tuesday, didn't make no sense to me every year, man. And that's always on Tuesday nights. So I feel like Conference USA is just taking over for that. So that's very possible. I do want to ask you about tomorrow's Nebraska, Coastal Carolina hosting Marshall at 5.5. I feel like that's too much. I almost want to take Coastal here, but does it go to 6? I think this was 4.5 earlier. What's your feel on that one?
I've already bet 4.5, so I got a bad number, to say the least. I don't like that when the market moves against me, but power ratings wise, I only got a 3. So, I mean, that's why I bet 4.5. They're both playing better than expected. They're both off back-to-back outright upsets. I'm not fully trustworthy mode yet on either team. Couple groups I took the over. I can see that. Coastal's offense is playing much better than they were the worst offense in the country the first 3 games of the season. They're playing better. Marshall's probably one of the more underrated offenses in the country. The Del Rio Wilson kid's playing well. I think he's number 3 in the country in quarterback rating. So understand the over, but power ratings wise, favorite bet for tomorrow will be Coastal plus the points.
Being that I'm Betman, and it's kind of wrote backwards on the camera, I'll take Coastal Carolina. I am taking it. I'll take the 5.5 here. I'm just checking FanDuel here to make sure, our friendly book, to see if it's there too. 5.5 at FanDuel. Let's take it. I agree. It's a -110, even a better number on FanDuel. Let's take Coastal Carolina here for 1.5 stars. I agree. My number's 2.5, Brad. I got to take this one. So I'm with you here. Let's see if we can let's see if we can get this conference, man. We'll see if we can scare them a little bit over at Sunbelt. Memphis, Rice. I got nothing. Rice coming off a bye. I think Memphis is kind of in a letdown spot. It's 13.5.
Rice pulled an upset last week. They outright upset Connecticut in overtime at home. Second time.
Well, UConn coming off UConn was in that letdown spot too because they beat Q's they beat Boston College. That's what it was.
Yep. I bet Rice played a number though, 14.5. 14 sounds about right to me. So would not play it at current. Interesting game. Boy, I didn't have the Memphis quarterback playing last week. He gets ruled in, and even then I'm like, there's no way he's going to be mobile, and I looked good for 3 quarters. I'm like, yeah, I'm glad I bet USF. And then 17-0 fourth quarter. Got a winner turns into a loser just like that.
Brad, I know it's Halloween, but could they have put a scarier game than North Carolina against freaking Syracuse on a Friday on Halloween night? I don't even know what to think of. I think I just might go trick-or-treating twice instead of having to watch this game, dude. I don't know. I have no idea what Chapel Bill's up to. I mean, they did show some effort last week and almost scored at the end, and then Syracuse is utterly pathetic. I don't know. What do you have?
I lean towards North Carolina, but I'm holding out for 3 to get involved there. I can play under. North Carolina has shown some stuff the last couple weeks. In fact, they probably should have won each last 2 weeks. And I'm not just getting, creative here. They fumbled at the goal line late against Cal going in. I mean, untouched guy just fumbles. And then last week, not only were stopped inches short on the 2-point conversion, but earlier in the game, guy is running towards the end zone, reaches out and fumbles at the goal line. Plus in the second half, they had an interception in the red zone. So they were superior to Virginia, to say the least. So for a team with all the turmoil, they're playing actually their best football this season. Can't say the same for Syracuse. Offense has completely disappeared with Ricky Collins at quarterback. They went from averaging 38 points per game with Steve Angeli the first 4 weeks. Last 4 weeks, they were averaging 13 points per game. So that's why I'm kind of more on at current. Under would be my preference there, under 45.5. But let's see if we can get a 3, and then we'll be betting North Carolina.
All right, North Carolina. Bobby took Q's money line on Sunday. Well, let's see how this one turns out. It looks like Bobby's going to be glued into the TV that game.
When I said taking a bet, I don't mean best bet. I don't know how you could have best bet material on this one.
You can't. This is weird. Clemson now down to 2.5. It was 3.5 just a day ago, Brad. You know whose shenanigans this was? Was it Dr. Bob's or was it who moved this number?
I know who's behind it. I got this just moved right before the show. I got word that Klubnik might not play. So I'm a part of this one. These are some quiet people behind the scenes. Okay. Even though everything's been positive. Oh, he's practicing. He's probable. I was told that he's probably out. So that's what that was.
Gamesmanship, huh?
Yep.
Jesus. They're putting out some complete BS then. Dabo and his little crew over there. God, do I hate the way they handle college injuries. Don't get me wrong, the NFL could be better too, but this is just absolute.
It should be heavy fines and stuff. And there's one school in particular that they should get the death penalty for doing what they've done the last 4 or 5 years, and that's Utah.
There should not be a game time decision. You're either playing or you're not, like 12 hours before or something. Give us some time to take a look at it. Give the fans some time to digest if they want to drop $500 by going to a game. This is absolutely insane that they play these games. Everyone's saying Utah.
Utah for 4 or 5 years have been doing it. They just did it again last week. Death penalty. Death penalty for that.
Death penalty. Take them out. Yeah. What's his? Oh God, that quarterback that was there for like 10 years. What's his name again? He played really well on that road. Cam Rising. That's it. God, Cam Rising's still questionable to play somewhere in his life. Let's see what else. I missed Tulane versus UTSA. This is a weird number. Tulane minus 5.5. It kind of tries to tease you into taking Tulane there. I got nothing.
I got nothing on that one. Bobby says in the chat, straight to jail. Not jail, prison. Friend.
Yeah. Or possibly electric chair even. This is Halloween. We don't need prison on Halloween. Electric chair. Or burned at the stake, maybe. Burned at the stake. With good old fashioned witch hunt. Do we have anything to say about Penn State versus Ohio State? I got nothing to say. It's 20.5. It wouldn't shock me if Ohio State puts them out of their misery and twists the dagger. Just Christ, man. But it wouldn't surprise me if Penn State gets up and just plays a defensive game. I feel like the fact that I don't really know what to do with the quarterback at Penn State, that Iowa cover was complete loads of shit that screwed me by a half point. I should have took the money line. I don't know.
I didn't bet it. Tough. I'm not interested in Penn State because what does intrigue me is like the Heisman race, which is wide open. Ohio State finally, again, I'm sure because you watched Wisconsin, they turned saying loose a little bit. Attempted 42 passes, and he's been lights out. Do they continue doing that with him? That would be something to look out for if they continue to pass, because they've been so conservative with him.
Well, my power rating is 19, so I think they do because they're going against Mendoza for Heisman, and they want to bring that right to Sayin. And I think they're like, go at it, kid. And what a perfect time to do that against a beat up Penn State team that just ain't going to be able to stop Ohio State.
No.
Miami versus, I did that one. How about ASU now plus 7.5? I took the quick bet when I learned about Sims, but what I will say is that I think this spread should be like 10 because I have a massive downgrade to freaking Scott to Sims. He's awful. He's terrible. He's no even close to Levitt. I'd still bet 7.5 to be honest with you, probably.
I made a bad bet. I forgot about the Levitt injury. This is Sunday morning, and I saw 3.5. I'm like, ooh, I think Arizona State's probably slightly better than Iowa State, and bad bet. So, but that's okay. I've won a few of them this year, even including Wisconsin plus 19.5 from the summer last week. So I'm gonna let it ride because I don't like Iowa State right now.
Well, I had the Ravens minus 6.5 last week, and I didn't turn off it. I didn't tease out of it.
No.
I stuck with it. I'm like, this is a terrible spot for that. So we win our bad bets sometimes, Brad. That's going to happen.
I lose plenty of them to know that. Come on, my goodness.
Navy, North Texas. Navy undefeated, big dog. It makes me almost want to take North Texas here. Jesus, Navy's probably going to get put out of their misery one of these days. But can North Texas stop the run? I got to look at the numbers.
Navy's undefeated, but they've been a double-digit favorite in every game. I mean, reality's going to set in. They're going to be an underdog in their next 4 after being a double-digit favorite in every game.
So weird.
I lean North Texas, but again, I'm not totally sold on their defense yet. So I hate playing against the service academies in the underdog role. I like playing against the service academies when they're laying points, a la last week, Navy, Florida Atlantic, but not when they're catching points like this.
North Texas 102nd in rushing defensive rush EPA. That's not good against Navy.
That to me doesn't scream. Let's run the window and lay some points here.
No, that makes me lean Navy even in this situation.
You're going to get a 7. The leading indicator books say it's going to 7.
My number can't be that high. I'm going to see what my power number is. -3. North Texas -3. I give them 1 point for home field advantage, though. Is that too little?
This year it is. They had a sellout their last home game, and I'm sure they have a good atmosphere for this one.
All right. A Navy at 7. I'm going to put it as a maybe.
Yep.
Let's look at Navy. Another big game. East Carolina Temple's fun.
Yeah, Temple's been way better than expected this year. I mean, Casey Keeler is a great coach, one of the most underrated coaches in the country. ECU off a bye. I'm not there yet. It's kind of a lay 3, take 6. We're right at 4.5. Pass. I didn't bet it.
Andrew likes Navy money line. Let's see here. What about? Yeah, I got something special for you for Temple in a few. Louisville, Virginia Tech. I was thinking about laying it with Louisville. I don't know. I think Louisville's underrated. So, I don't know.
At a different book right now, you can lay 9.5.
FanDuel?
4-letter network.
4-letter network. Oh, I don't use them.
Yeah.
I
liked what I saw from Virginia Tech last week. They killed Cal at the line of scrimmage. So at that number, I would take the hook on the dog.
Maryland at home, Boston College at home against 2 juggernauts from Indiana. I'm not messing with these teams. I don't want to get in the way of Indiana or Notre Dame right now, really. Did you get in the way of anything?
I definitely am not getting in the way of Indiana. Playable now would be 50.5. I like the over. I think Indiana can get there themselves, just like last week against UCLA. So over there, I did play a little BC. Nothing big there. It's the largest favorite role ever in the series for Notre Dame. So we'll on the road. So we'll see. But again, if Notre Dame plays their A game, they'll kill BC. I like what I saw to be. I thought BC was waving the white flag on the season, and then last week that they go and they're only down 7 in the fourth quarter to Louisville.
Kind of like the zigzag with Minnesota here hosting Michigan State.
Yeah, zigzag or it's home away. Here's another thing I didn't bring up when you said what changes is. Well, I got more data to work with, and specifically when I get 2 or 3, 4 home games versus 2, 3, 4, 5 away games. I can start looking at the home away dichotomies, and Minnesota's probably got the biggest. 5-0 at home, outscoring their opponents by 21 points per game. 0-3 on the road, getting outscored by 30 a game. I think it's a buy low spot. I'm not buying Michigan State off the rivalry game, so I like Minnesota.
I like Minnesota too at the 3. Wake Forest versus Florida State. Andrew's like, why are they laying 2 scores against anyone? I agree. But if there's any spot for Florida State to get back to like what people thought, I feel like it's this. Is Florida State off the bye? I don't remember them playing.
They're off the bye, yep.
Okay, so that's why it is off the bye, recharged. Wake Forest has been a nice surprise, and they've cashed some tickets for me. I had them against SMU last week.
Very good.
They almost fumbled that away too. So that was one of my winners last week. I don't want to lay it really. I could see them blowing out Wake Forest, but I
don't know if they blow. This program sucks right now. I bet Wake because there was some whispers about Castellanos' injury situation. He did just get cleared. That's why we're seeing 10s in the market now.
Okay. Well, that's even better then. I almost feel like that. What about Cincy being like, this was at 7. Now they're plus 10 against Utah. I mean, how fraudulent is this, man? I love Utah at night and at home. I mean, they're especially what they did to poor Colorado. God, shouldn't it be a law that they can't have 2 back-to-back night games like this? Or was that a night game? I thought it was. Maybe it was an early game.
Oh yeah, it was. It was late night.
Yeah,
that's another late night. Yep.
Yeah, late game in Utah. That's like a 5.5, 6 point home field advantage at night. Since he killed me last week, I had Baylor. I toyed with it. I got it at like a great number. I had 5.5 or something, and I got killed on it. So I'm scared of Cincinnati now a little bit. They pissed me off because I had them as favorites, and they've screwed me against Bowling Green and someone else. But it's Cincy or nothing. But I don't like it. I'm probably staying away.
Yeah, 10.5 now popping in the market. I think Dampier's playing for Utah. Who knows? But I do think he's going to play. I also think I didn't get confirmation yet, but I think there's might be an issue or two at Cincinnati because I was told this was going to run up, and here we are at 10.5. So
with the quarterback,
I don't know. I haven't gotten confirmation yet, but I would not be betting Cincinnati yet.
I didn't know Sorsby might be hurt. 20 TDs to 1 interception. Sorsby, 65% completion.
He's been great. Cincinnati's, I mean, they could have beaten Nebraska. They'd be undefeated. I mean, they were there at the end. He turned it over. That was his only interception was at the end against Nebraska. He had a bad throw. Since then, 20 touchdowns. I don't like what I bet him against BG, and they blew that in the second half. It was terrible.
Oh, we both did. We had great numbers. We were texting that day. I had 20.5, and it closed at 24.5. So that fucked us. They wanted like.
I got him with Iowa State, but I went against them last week. I haven't had a great pulse on Cincinnati. I did bet Utah here though, so I think Utah crushes them.
When everyone's done with their Halloween parties, you have Hawaii at San Jose State to come home to. I'm thinking about betting Hawaii.
Need a 3, but I would be there. They're underrated, and if you're afraid of backing them off the islands, well, they've already beaten Air Force away from home. They beat Colorado State away from home. This is a legitimate team this year, so I need a 3, but I would back them, and just for fun because it's a late game. I lean over.
I forgot to mention K-State hosting Texas Tech. K-State sitting at +7. Morton's back, right, for Texas Tech?
Morton's back. Let's see if he can stay healthy because now they don't have the backup anymore because he's out for the year. So
shit. Well, that's going to be a hold your breath every game then from here on out.
Yes, it is.
I can't stand Kansas State. They did destroy the shit out of Kansas last week, though, didn't they?
They did.
Did that quarterback get his head right, Christian?
Well, he was right for last week, but I don't know if you can trust him on a week-to-week basis. I bet Tech here, but 7 I think is a relatively fair number. I have liked what I've seen from Kansas State. They should have 4 straight wins. They blew the Baylor game. Otherwise, they'd have 4 straight wins and covers after they started 0-4.
Yeah, Avery Johnson, I'm going to say. Yeah, he's so untrustable for me, but it's just this could be like that TCU game where TCU is just choking the ball out left and right, and Kansas State makes it a freaking game, a home game, a later home game, so I'm gonna stay away from it, but it's gonna be a fun one to watch too, because it's
really good, very underrated game.
Absolutely. Well, we had a question. I told Jake I'd get to it. He wants to know which SEC team would you bet on to make the playoffs at the current prices. So I should probably pull up the current prices here. Futures, playoffs. That's what I should say. Playoffs, yes or no? I'm guessing he's asking, right? So you got, Georgia's minus 310. And they don't really write these that neat on DK. Missouri plus 1,000. I mean, if you
they're out with the quarterback hurt, they're done.
Texas 500 plus 500 for Texas. What about that one? I mean, if you like them against Vandy.
Yeah, they still got to play A&M, and they're at Georgia. So, and then one loss, I think, with 3 losses, they're probably out. I do have one. I don't mind Tennessee plus 290 because I like them. Diversify the portfolio. Like them against Oklahoma. They get Vanderbilt at home at the end. I think they'll be favored in that game. So, I think Tennessee's worth a pizza bet.
Plus 300. And that was a beer bet banger of mine like 3 weeks ago, Tennessee to make the playoffs. I didn't get that good.
What'd you get 3 weeks ago? You probably got like 6-1.
No, I didn't. It was like 280. It was 280 for some reason. I don't know why that didn't change. Maybe it's because Vandy's messing with them a little bit. Vandy's looking better.
Well, they got beat by Alabama week before last. That's what hurt it.
That's what hurt it. Yeah, that's exactly what hurt it. But I think Tennessee can make it. It's going to be interesting between Tennessee and Ole Miss. I think Ole Miss should be in. That A&M's in. I mean, they can't take too many. That means that leaves Alabama.
Alabama's in, Georgia's in. That's what I mean. There's going to be some people.
There might be 5.
Teams got to start losing because if nobody's losing, then I would hate to be the committee.
And you might have to force someone in for the ACC and the Big 12 if BYU goes undefeated. Yeah. You might have to force them in just because people are going to have a shit fit on it. I don't think they care. I don't think they care. Like the NFL, they don't care. All right, so it's Tennessee, Jake. Hopefully you're still on. That's what Brad's leading. I agree with Brad at 3-1. I think that's a great price. They can win out. They just got to beat Vandy. Let's go to Beer Bet Bangers
this week.
I'm not there. That we already penciled that one in, didn't we? That was a scary thing to say. Let's go to Beer Bet Bangers, Brad. I'm just gonna say Temple. I'm taking Temple plus 164. I think I got a bad number. I think that's actually a little bit better right now. I took it this morning. I'm just going to Temple win outright. Screw the spread. It's Beer Bet. Pizza money, beer money plus 180 right now. So Beer Bet Banger. Temple plus 180 to win outright against East Carolina. I think East Carolina takes them too lightly.
I got you're gonna like this. Well, I mean, I'm gonna fade Lincoln Riley until he proves he can win a game across the country. I think Nebraska's worth a look. Plus 185-ish on the money line. I don't think that's a bad bet there. Let's see Riley win one of these games first.
Let's have some fun with that one. I agree. Parlay them together, my friends. Get some big payouts there. That's like 10 pizzas. Put like 1 pizza on it and then you get 10 pizzas. Then you got pizza for the rest of the year. Pizza for all your Saturdays of college football coming into Christmas. So, man. We have a question here. Are there any teams in the Big Ten outside the Big Two? Big Two, you mean Big Three, right? Indiana, Oregon, and Ohio State. I'm guessing you meant that because Indiana's freaking in. And Ohio State is in, and I think Oregon's in.
Yeah.
It would take Oregon a massive collapse to not be in. No, there's not.
Yeah, or if they just lose one and we have all this nightmare scenarios, with the 2 Big 12 teams and 2 ACC teams and stuff, that's going to start knocking teams like even Oregon and Notre Dame and stuff like that out. So They could lose at Washington. They could lose at Iowa. So I don't know if it's a slam dunk. They finish 11-1, but minus 350. I'm not interested in laying that right now because of that. If they lose a game, then I don't think it's a slam dunk. They're still in.
They won't put a 3-loss SEC over a 2-loss Oregon, though. Maybe Oregon loses.
Yeah, I agree with that. I agree. We need some 3-loss SEC teams again. The Georgias, the Vanderbilts, the Ole Misses of the world. Playoff eliminator there for Oklahoma, Tennessee this week. But we got to get some 3-loss SEC teams right now. They ain't looking like it.
No, it's not looking like it. We have too many 2-loss scenarios, really. I think I want 3 myself. Ole Miss only at 1, Georgia at 1, Vandy at 1, Texas
at
1.
Texas is going to be out,
and I'm at 0.
Yeah,
yeah. I think there's going to be 3 or 4 2-loss SEC teams to hopefully, unfortunately, not make my scenario that great. But yeah. I think Missouri's out. Oklahoma's going to be out, so I'm going to call them out. Florida's out. Tennessee, Texas, maybe, but Vandy, Georgia, Ole Miss, and Alabama.
Texas is out. They're losing to Georgia.
Okay. Texas is out. So you have 5 SEC teams: Tennessee, Vandy, Georgia, Ole Miss, and Alabama. I think Vandy falls out of those.
Yeah, I agree.
I think
you're going to get 4 only out of the SEC. I know the committee would want all 12 to be SEC, but
so Vandy versus Tennessee at the end of the year is going to be a playoff game, maybe.
Yeah, I think it is.
Yeah, I think that's a playoff game too. So that makes total sense. Brad, it's Halloween season, my friend. You crushed it once again. I really appreciate you coming on, giving us your knowledge. Could you let our listeners and viewers know where to get your great information?
Yeah, you can follow me on Twitter and X, BradPower7. Find my information there if you want to head on over to my website or anything, or you just want to get my, stream of consciousness thoughts sometimes. So I promise it's not political, but all world's college football, both fan and betting. Yeah, you'll get it, plus some other sports.
Absolutely. Bobby, thank you for showing up once again. Thank you, all you guys, Andrew, Jake, all you guys that showed up in the lines. I really appreciate it. In the chat, Richard as well. Make sure you guys follow Brad. I promise you he's not too scary of a follow. You're always going to get some great information from my good friend Brad. Thanks again, Brad. We'll be tweeting.
All right. Take care.